We live full-time in our RV, and right now we are boondocking in Arizona. Since our RV is our home, we like to take care of it and do some maintenance on a monthly basis. I'll show you everything we do, so let's head inside and get started. The first thing I like to tackle is cleaning our AC filters. So we have one here, and we also have one in the bedroom. We have the Coleman mock models, and they're quite easy to get out. All you really have to do is pull on these tabs here, like so, and that front cover will come out. And then you'll see these black filters here that can typically kind of just slide right on out. There you go. It's the end of November, so we haven't been using our ACs for at least about 2 months now, and we did just check them last month and clean them then. So I think I'm actually good for this month, but typically what we'll do is we'll take all of them out. So we have 2 in the bedroom and 2 of those black filters in the living room one as well. And we'll just rinse it out with some water and soap and make sure that it's completely dry before we put it back in, because we don't want to create any mold problems or anything like that. Once they're dry, they typically slide in pretty easily, like so, when they're behind the 2 tabs there. And then you can pop this one in as well. A little hard with one hand. And there you go. And you're all set with cleaning your AC filters for the month. Another thing we like to check inside on about a monthly basis is our freezer and making sure that it doesn't need to be defrosted. We did again do that last month, so skipping it this month since it seems okay, and our freezer is pretty full this month anyway, but we'll just take a spoon or something like that to kind of dig the ice out from the back of the freezer. I've seen other people use like plastic sheets or a plastic placemat and place that there once they've removed all of the ice, so that when it's time to defrost it again, they can just pull out that whole sheet and kind of just be done with it. And the purpose of that is just more for the freezer efficiency, and especially since we boondock a lot, we like to make sure that our appliances are running as efficiently as possible. We also like to check our fire extinguisher, smoke detector, and carbon monoxide and propane detector once a month to make sure that that's all set. With our fire extinguisher, it lets us know to press the green indicator button to make sure that it springs back. So the green indicator is right here, so we just click on that. And since we see that it springs back, we know that we're all set.
All right, so to test the fire alarm, what you do is just hold down this test button for a few seconds. Sometimes I forget to hold it long enough, but just keep holding it down and you should hear a beep. Here we go. And it works.
And we'll test the carbon monoxide alarm as well. It's also important to wipe down the carbon monoxide and propane gas alarm. Just make sure that you're not using any water or any cleaners, so you just want to use like a microfiber cloth or something like that to just kind of get all of the dust off there. Next up is dehumidifiers and mold. So if you have a big dehumidifier, we definitely recommend rinsing out and sanitizing those on a monthly basis. As of now, we don't have those, but we do have reusable ones, so we just make sure that we can go ahead and charge them on a monthly basis. Depends on where we are at. So right now, since we are in a quite dry environment in Arizona, we only need to be doing it on a monthly basis, but when we were back east, we were having to do it at least on a weekly basis. And then also in terms of just being proactive, we like to just check in the dark and places that you're not looking as much, just check in for mold. So we'll take a flashlight and just look at all those little nooks and crannies to make sure that everything's looking good. So we have the Eva Dry renewable mini dehumidifiers, which have been working great. We have about 4 or 5 of these around the RV. As you can see, it's actually still more dry, but because it's indicating orange, and these beads actually will turn green once they are wet to indicate that they're ready to be recharged. In the back, there's a little plug for the outlet, so you can just pop that right in. And it typically sometimes takes about 12 hours once it's green, but I'll just let it in for, just a few hours since it's already looking pretty orange. We also keep one in our pantry, and this one's definitely looking a little bit more green and darker than the other one. We also keep one underneath our bed storage, and this one's also looking a little bit dark and ready to be plugged in. Then I'll put my flashlight on and just kind of look and all the different nooks and crannies around the RV and make sure that there's no signs of mold. Make sure to check above the cabinets too, since we're not looking up there too often. And in our bathroom cabinets as well. We'll basically just take an overall look of the RV and make sure that there's just no signs of mold. Another good area to always check is actually underneath the mattress, especially if you have an RV like ours where the mattress is just kind of laying on a wooden board. I know that from seeing other people's videos that mold can kind of be created there. I have seen that you can use like plastic kind of tile blocks underneath your mattress to kind of prevent some of the mold, but so far we've been all good. So here you'll see, you can raise the mattress and the mold can sometimes accumulate here, so that's just where you want to check. Another thing we like to do is just inspecting and making sure all the windows are working and all the screens are looking okay, that there's like no holes or anything that we need to replace. Another big one is also just making sure that the emergency windows are working and opening and closing as they should, because of course you want to use them in case of emergency. So we just kind of pop these two latches. And then you should be able to open them, and as you'll see, there's no screen. So that's all set. Latch them back up. And then I'll just go around the whole RV and check each window. The last thing I tackle inside on a monthly basis is inspecting all of our water lines to make sure that everything is tight and looking good. So that includes the kitchen sink, the bathroom, behind the toilet, and also any water lines that you may have running outside. So here we're going underneath the kitchen sink, and really all I'm just doing is kind of feeling, see, like this one felt actually a little bit loose, so I'll go ahead and tighten that. Just making sure everything looks good. I can check these lines as well. This is really just to prevent any leaking. So I'll do the same in the bathroom here. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. Then you'll see behind the toilet there are some lines. And I'll check outside since in our like basement storage, we've got some lines running through here. So I just make sure that it's all looking good. The last thing I'll do is kind of walk around the RV and see what we need to fix, maybe more on our quarterly maintenance day. That's definitely a lot more time consuming, but it kind of keeps us ready and prepared to what we might need to do. So an example is that the siding here has come off, so we are going to want to eventually replace that. We can do so probably by taking it off at the end and just replacing that here. We also take a look at like all the sealing and see what we're gonna have to reseal, since there are definitely some spots like here that can be redone. We'll also know any screws that are loose. But yeah, that's basically it for our monthly maintenance. It usually just takes us a half hour to an hour tops to just kind of take a look at everything, make sure everything is looking good, all the safety items are checked off. And then on a seasonally basis, we definitely have a lot more work to do in terms of, sanitizing tanks and the water heater, backflushing our water softener, a lot more to do, even in terms of adding then the sealant where there's missing any screws. So that'll be a little bit more in depth, and we'll plan to kind of tackle that in early 2025. So stay tuned.